All right, welcome back to the Attack the Rack YouTube channel. This is the Attack the Rack Monday morning live show where we talk about the weekend that was in sports, and also we hope to kick your week off right here. Today is Monday, August the 19th. Again, we come here every single Monday morning at 7 a.m. Again, recapping the weekend that was in sports. Hey, if you could just take a quick half second, if you already haven't, and subscribe to the channel, that will do us a great service as YouTube obviously looks at subscriber count as they decide how to and where to send out the videos. This does upload as a regular video after the live show ends. And so, you don't have to watch it live every Monday morning. Right after we're done, it uploads as a regular video. But if you could also give the video a like, that also will trigger the YouTube algorithm and help get it out into the world. So appreciate all of you that do tune in every week, all of you that turn into all of our content. I know we have a very faithful fan base growing, and much appreciated. It was a great week last week at the Attack the Rack YouTube channel. We wrapped up a really great fantasy football preview series with our fantasy football guru, Corey Walters. We did a segment on quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Each of those were released as separate videos. So if you are preparing for your fantasy football draft, you may want to go back and watch those videos. I will be, I think later today, maybe tonight, I'll release the entire thing as one video with Corey Walters. But right now, they're all each position is a separate video on the channel right now, so you can go back and you can watch those as you prepare for your fantasy football drafts. The podcast this past Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Big Mo and I have our Attack the Rack weekly podcast. This past week, it included a phenomenal interview with Steve Edson. Steve Edson is a longtime basketball coach and teacher here in West Michigan. We had a great conversation with him, looking back at his 30 years of coaching and the ups, the downs, how he got into coaching, some of his, mentors in coaching, and ultimately how he came to the conclusion that it was time to hang up the whistle. So great interview with him. And speaking of the Attack the Rack podcast and interviews, Big Mo and I are going to try to get an interview on as many episodes now as we can. And this coming Saturday morning, 9 a.m., we have a phenomenal interview with Sam Callejas. Sam is a longtime friend of both myself and Big Mo, who we've both done some coaching with him. And the reason we had him on is to talk Michigan football. Sam is the biggest Michigan fan that I know, probably one of the biggest Michigan fans there is. His knowledge of the history of the Michigan football program is incredible. So we talked both about the upcoming season for the Michigan Wolverines, and we also talked a little bit about the past as well. So that was really fun. Great interview with him. So definitely make sure you tune in this coming Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to watch that podcast. And then also, just a reminder, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m., we upload our daily lineup show. That's with myself, Big Mo, and Trent, where we're talking about the latest topics in sports. We do recap on Wednesday's episodes. Right now, we're recapping Tuesday night's episodes of Hard Knocks with the Chicago Bears on HBO, and then also releasing that segment as a separate video. So if you are a big Hard Knocks fan, keep an eye out for those videos as well. Those get released on Wednesdays as well. Right now there are 2 episodes in. So we have a recap for episode 1 and episode 2 on the channel that you can go back and watch if you are a Hard Knocks fan. WNBA, it's back. Caitlin Clark, she's back. 2 games over the weekend for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Friday night, they played the Phoenix Mercury. Phoenix Mercury feature 3 players that were on the U.S. Olympic team, Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, and Kalia Cooper. Fever beat them again. 3rd time this year, the Indiana Fever have beaten the Phoenix Mercury 3-0. Also, if you look at kind of the head-to-head versus the GOAT, Diana Taurasi, Caitlin Clark also defeated her in the All-Star game. So Caitlin Clark really is, you could say, 4-0 against the GOAT, Diana Taurasi. What a game it was. Crazy game. The Fever got up like 28 points, maybe 30 points in the second quarter already. And then the Mercury really battled back. They cut it to, I think, 16 or 17 by halftime, and then ended up even taking the lead in the 3rd quarter. So this is now the 2nd time the Fever have built up a 28, 30-point lead on the Mercury just to see them come all the way back. The Fever were able to hang on and ended up dominating the 4th quarter and still going on to a 9-point victory. But they got to figure out why. They blew a big lead against the one time Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky were able to beat them. They had a big lead in that game and they blew it. So they got to figure out why they blow these big leads. Caitlin Clark, incredible game, 29 points, 10 assists, another double-double. She had an opportunity. I think her career high is 30 points. Had an opportunity on the last possession, maybe to get a bucket and get a new career high, but dribbled the clock out. Even there was even enough time left where the Mercury got another possession too. So shows an incredible move of sportsmanship and let the clock dribble out. Didn't even take a shot. Shot clock goes off. Still 3 seconds on the clock. So class act there. But I will say it's Caitlin Clark does need to work on some of her classiness. Let's be honest. She got another technical foul in yesterday's game. 6 technical fouls on the season for her. If you get a 7th, you get a 1-game suspension. So she's got to be careful. Everyone does argue with the referees and talks to the referees, but I think she goes at it in a kind of an immature way, with facial expressions and I think she's got to learn the proper ways to talk to the officials. So hopefully that'll come, because she cannot and her team cannot afford another technical foul, because again, that'll be her 7th, which will result in a 1-game suspension. You want to talk about Angel Reese being a double-double machine, which she is. Caitlin Clark is a double-double machine as well. She's doing it with points and assists. Angel Reese, obviously, with points and rebounds. And Angel Reese does have a significantly more amount of double-doubles, but she's doing it with rebounds. And Caitlin Clark's doing it with assists, which is way more difficult. I think it's safe to say Caitlin Clark now is the clear-cut favorite for the Rookie of the Year. This is an ongoing debate. Probably even still too early to talk about it. Well, maybe not. I mean, we are well past the halfway point now of the season, but a lot of people like to claim Angel Reese should get the Rookie of the Year. They have to be basing that solely on the double-doubles, because Caitlin Clark leads, outside of rebounds, Caitlin Clark leads Angel Reese in every single other statistical category: points, assists, field goal percentage, etc. And most importantly, wins. The Fever have 13 wins, I think. And the Sky only have 11 wins, which isn't that big of a difference. But head-to-head, Caitlin Clark and the Fever are 2-1 against Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. And then also, if you want to look at improvement from last season, when obviously the Fever did not have Caitlin Clark and the Sky did not have Angel Reese, the Indiana Fever's win percentage is significantly better than it was last year with Caitlin Clark, where the Chicago Sky, they're actually worse than they were last year, win percentage-wise. So Caitlin Clark, with the impact she's having on her team, and then also just all the statistical things, I think she's now solidified herself as the clear-cut Rookie of the Year. And then the Fever played again yesterday. That was a little bit more rough of a game, not quite as pretty. They played Seattle. Seattle had, I don't know, they kind of had a 4 to 6 point lead most of the first half, and then it was really close in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, the Fever just dominated, couldn't miss a shot. Lexi Hull, 22 points off the bench. She had 6 for 7 from 3-point range. She played phenomenal. Aaliyah Boston, 15 rebounds. And then Caitlin Clark, just another phenomenal game. What'd she have? 20 points and 9 rebounds, I think, or 20. She had over 20 points. And then the 9 rebounds, 1 rebound shy of yet another triple-double. I'm sorry, assists. Sorry, not rebounds. She had 5 or 6 rebounds. That's the other thing. Caitlin Clark rebounds phenomenally for a guard. I think she's averaging like 6 boards a game, which is really good for a point guard. But anyway, she had 20-ish points. She had over 20 or more, and then the 9 assists. So 1 assist shy of another double-double. And speaking of assists, Caitlin Clark did break the rookie record for assists yesterday. With, I think they still got 13 games to play, 13, 14 more games yet, and she's already broken that record. And she's on pace to destroy the overall single season assist record of 316. So if she keeps up the pace she's at, she'll destroy that record as well. But the nice thing is she's, I really like the help that she's getting from her teammates. It's not just a one-player show with the Indiana Fever. Kelsey Mitchell, she had 27 points yesterday. She is on fire from 3-point range as well. So, this team is really coming together. They play well together. We've talked about on the Daily Lineup show, Dave Portnoy putting $100,000 on the Indiana Fever to win the championship. He got that at I think plus 10,000. So his payout will be $10.1 million if the Indiana Fever win the championship. And, they have stretches where they look like they're as good as anybody in the league, against a good team like Phoenix on Friday night, building up that 28-point lead. Certainly when they're playing like that, they're going to be tough to beat. They've already beaten the number 1 seed, the current number 1 seed, New York Liberty. So, they can play with anybody. Their problem is, like Big Mo likes to say on our Daily Lineup show, there might be 1 player away yet. So I'm not sure when the trade deadline is for the WNBA, but if they can pick up 1 solid player, that might be the piece they need to really actually compete for the championship. And right now they're still a couple games under 500, but let's not forget they started out 1-9, and they had a tough schedule right out the gate, and they were playing almost every other night. And since then they've been winning significantly more than they've been losing. So again, started out 1-9. Now I think they're maybe like 12-15. So since then they're 11-4 or something like that, and they've been beating and competing with good teams. They also have one of the easiest schedules for the remaining 13 games of the season. So they not only have a great shot to maintain their 7th spot in the playoffs, but probably bump up a spot or two too, possibly. So, and obviously the higher they are, the easier their road to the finals would be. So despite at this point still being under 500, I would not count them out for making a run at the championship game, especially if they can pick up one more piece before the trade deadline. I think that's all we've got for WNBA. Caitlin Clark, that was kind of the story of the weekend. Not a whole lot going on until college football and NFL games actually start. Obviously, there's tons of NFL preseason going on. The Lions, they got a win over the Kansas City Chiefs on a last-second field goal. But other than that, not much going on. Yesterday, though, ESPN E60 aired an episode talking about Armando Galarraga. Armando Galarraga played for, he had not a great or long career in Major League Baseball as a pitcher, but he did spend some time with the Detroit Tigers, and he is most known for his near perfect game. Started out the game 27 up, 27 down, 26 up, 26 down, needed one more out for that perfect game, and appeared to have had it. It was a ground ball hit, last batter of the game, what should have been the last batter of the game. Ground ball hit to first baseman Miguel Cabrera. Armando Galarraga ran over to cover the bag. Cabrera threw it to him, and it appeared that the runner was out, which would have ended the game and given Armando Galarraga the very rare perfect game, and the umpire called the runner safe. Now, if you watch it in real time, it is hard to say the runner was out. But when they show the slow motion replay, I mean, he's clearly out. But I don't know. It's tough because, again, in real time, an umpire trying to make that call, it was a bang play. Hard to really fault him for screwing that up. I think a lot of people would say, but it was he was going for a perfect game. You got to give the benefit of the doubt to the pitcher. I mean, I don't really agree with that. I mean, it's still they were playing at the time they were called the Cleveland Indians. Now they're the Cleveland Guardians. You still got to give them a chance to win the game. It was only a 3-0 game. Granted, there was 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Unlikely they would have come back and won, but you still got to call the game the same no matter what. But clearly he blew the call, and now there is, and there has been ever since, campaigns to try to get that call overturned so Armando Galarraga could get the perfect game. I don't think that will ever happen. As they talked about in the episode yesterday, if you overturn that call, then what other calls are people going to start talking about that you need to overturn? So, I get why they can't overturn it. The only thing I would say that they could overturn it is because now there's instant replay. Back when this happened, there was no instant replay. So if this would have happened now, they would have went back. They would have looked at it on the cameras, watched it in slow motion, easily would have called them out, and Armando Galarraga would have walked away with a perfect game. But unfortunately, back then there was no instant replay, and so there's nothing they could do at the time. And unfortunately, I still don't think there's anything they can do. If they do overturn the call, don't get me wrong, I would fully support it. I think he deserves the perfect game. Plus, then he ended up getting the next guy out anyway. So I don't know, but what a story it was. I mean, the emotions. I mean, I remember I watched at least the last couple innings of that game live, and then definitely tuned in the next day to see what was going to happen. And just the way that Jim Joyce, the umpire, he owned up to his mistake that night already. Once he watched it on replay, he felt horrible. It crushed him. He felt terrible for blowing that call. And then the next day, the sportsmanship, Armando Galarraga, he brought up the lineup card to start the game, and Jim Joyce was the home plate umpire the next day. So they had a nice moment there at home plate before the game, shaking hands. And the way that Armando Galarraga handled the whole thing, complete class, even to this day. In the episode, he said he has no ill will. He wouldn't change anything. So phenomenal guy, because there's a lot of players, a lot of people that would absolutely, destroy them. And they definitely would not react with in the positive way that Armando Galarraga reacted to the whole thing. And still to this day, just an absolute class act. So, hey, if you haven't watched that, I would, and if you're a Tigers fan, I would definitely go back and watch that. Again, it was ESPN E60. I think it's called 28 Outs, the Imperfect Perfect Game, something like that. So anyway, great memories. I mean, back then the Tigers were really good. So it's kind of fun to go down memory lane a little bit. But then obviously the whole point of the episode was what happened with Armando Galarraga. And that was actually absolutely heart-wrenching. So, but highly recommend going back and watching that if you missed it yesterday. Other than that, I think we're ready to wrap it up. Again, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet here, the Attack the Rack YouTube channel, please do. Please give a like to any of the videos that you do watch. Again, it really helps us out as far as getting our content out into the world. So we will see you again next Monday morning, 7 a.m. And don't forget, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we upload the daily lineup show with myself, Big Mo, and Trent, talking about the latest in sports. And then Saturday morning, 9 a.m., we upload the Attack the Rack podcast this coming Saturday, featuring an interview with the great Michigan Wolverine fan, Sammy Go Blue Callejas. All right, we'll see you next time.